League of Legends player, what a wonderful specimen for an ethical scientific observation. Have you ever wondered what incarnation is going on in League players' noggin? How are they using this marvelous organ made out of 86 billion tiny redstone capacitors that, over the course of millions of years, somehow developed consciousness and made us aware of our inevitable demise? Summoner, have you ever wondered what parts of our brain do we use when we miss every single skill shot and perish soon after because of terrible spatial awareness? No, not really. You don't care about those stuff? Well, I do. That's right, gentlemen, in this video I'm going to harness the power of undiagnosed autism to map out every single part of our brain that is working tirelessly in order for us to be able to last hit menus, dodge skill shots, make questionable in-game decisions, and above all, play more jungler in all chat. And when I say map out, I mean strictly anatomically speaking, point out the exact location of the brain structure, name it, and even share a couple of words about its function. So, with all of that in mind, let us dissect a League player's brain. Before we dive into all the anatomical nerdy stuff, I have a simple question for you. What are you? If you look in the mirror and think to yourself, that's who I am, you would be greatly mistaken. In fact, you are not your pretty face, nor your fluffy ears, nor your tender and voluptuous cheek muscles. You are not what you see in the mirror is what I'm trying to say. What you actually are is this alien-looking structure, your nervous system. It is made out of two parts: central nervous system, which includes your brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which is made out of nerves that originate from your brain and spinal cord. These marvelous structures are made out of neurons, highly specialized cells that do one important job. They receive impulse and they generate impulse. When I say you are your nervous system, I literally mean it. Nervous system allows us to perceive outside world, interpret it in our mind, and generate appropriate response. No matter how you look at it, literally everything that we do is only possible because our nervous system works properly. If something goes wrong in there, we get fucked up real bad. In this video, our main focus will be on brain. This thing right here. We are going to look at its anatomy and map out every single structure that is involved in our ability to play League of Legends. Okay, let's get into it. When we play League, we utilize a bunch of different senses like vision, hearing, superficial sensations such as touch, and proprioception. Vision is the most important since if we can't see shit, we simply cannot play, duh. Hearing is a little bit less important. I mean, deaf person can play League for sure, but it is nice to hear pings in game and different sounds like your allies being slain. Proprioception is your body's ability to sense where it is located in 3D space. There are sensory receptors in your muscles, tendons and joints which constantly send signals to your brain. Your brain then makes sense out of those signals and voila, you feel your body in 3D space. When we are playing League, we are obsessively staring at the screen. We don't look at our hands. Proprioception together with superficial sensation like touch allows us to perform delicate movement with our hands without our conscious effort, which is necessary for hand-eye coordination, thus necessary for us to be able to play League. Now, where are these senses processed in our brain? Brain is made out of three parts. This wrinkly looking structure called cerebrum, cerebellum, which is this smaller thing at the bottom, and brainstem. Brainstem continues down into vertebral canal and forms spinal cord, but we don't have to worry about that. What we mainly care about is cerebrum, our precious cerebrum. We have left and right hemisphere, corpus callosum to connect them together, bunch of sulcus and gyrus which are just grooves and wrinkles of the brain, 4 lobes, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. These lobes are separated from each other by sulcus. We have one here, here, and here. In the occipital lobe, we have primary visual cortex. This is where vision is being processed. In the temporal lobe, we have primary auditory cortex. And as you can guess, this is part of the brain that processes auditory stimuli. So far, so good. Now, let's talk about proprioception. Gentlemen, this is where things get A little silly. Proprioceptive stimuli originate from our muscles, tendons and joints. Then they travel through peripheral nerves into the spinal cord and up into our brain, where they end up in parietal lobe, specifically in postcentral gyrus, where our primary somatosensory cortex is located. This part of the brain is responsible for processing sensations like touch, pain, temperature, vibration, and proprioception. Parietal lobe is also responsible for spatial awareness, both in-game and in real life. Okay, all the necessary information is being processed. We can see what is happening on our screen, we can hear our teammates dying left and right, and we can feel our hands hovering over mouse and keyboard ready to move our character, except we can't fucking move. Gentlemen, this is where things get a lot more silly. In order for movement to occur, we need this part of our brain, precentral gyrus. This gyrus is also known as primary motor cortex. In here we can find upper motor neuron. When we want to move, this neuron shoots down signal through our spinal cord into lower motor neuron, then it shoots signal through peripheral nerves into executive organ aka muscles, then these muscles contract and movement occurs. All great, we can now move our hands and fingers to play League, except we still fucking can't. In order for upper motor neuron to shoot the signal, it first needs a pre-made plan of movement, introducing premotor cortex. This is part of the brain that organizes a plan for movement before it even occurs. It takes all the necessary sensory input from different parts of the brain like parietal lobe and occipital lobe, then it analyzes all of that information and forms coherent motor response. But how does premotor cortex know what kind of movement to plan? Introducing prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is our conscious self. It is involved in a bunch of different things, but right now for the movement we only need desire. Your desire and decision to perform certain movement is formed in prefrontal cortex. Once you are aware of what you want to do, your prefrontal cortex sends signal to premotor cortex plans the movement, sends signal to primary motor cortex, then the signal goes down into spinal cord, into lower motor neuron, into peripheral nerves, and finally into your muscles. Congratulations, you can finally move your hands. However, the movement is insanely janky and uncoordinated, the exact opposite of what we want when we play League. To smoothen out the movement and coordinate it, we need help of two other brain structures, cerebellum and basal ganglia. Cerebellum is this part of the brain just below occipital lobe. Its role is to coordinate and time our movement to make it smooth and precise. Basal ganglia is a subcortical structure that consists of a bunch of different nuclei that are involved in approximately a bajillion different fucking things, but in the context of movement, it acts as a referee. It selects what kind of movement to allow and which one to suppress. Also, it helps us initiate the movement. Together, basal ganglia and cerebellum fine-tune our movement and allow us to execute pixel-perfect fine motor skills that is essential in not only everyday life, but also while we play League of Legends. Okay, that was a lot of stuff to process. I hope your ADHD brain is still paying attention. Here, look at this sick Subway Surfers gameplay. Alright, that's enough. Now it's time to talk about memory and emotional regulation. There are two key brain structures here, amygdala and hippocampus. Both of them are located deep within temporal lobe. Our ability to feel frustration, anger, sadness or any other emotion is all thanks to this little thing right here, amygdala. In real life, amygdala can trigger fight or flight response, but in League it mainly empowers us with anger and gives us ability to yell on top of our lungs for no fucking reason. This thing right here is hippocampus. It is memory center of the brain. Its main role is to consolidate short-term experience into long-term memory. Everything that you know about the game is stored in here. All the champion abilities, matchup knowledge, how to manage waves, literally everything is stored in hippocampus. It also plays role in spatial memory. When we play League, both amygdala and hippocampus are doing their job, but when we are being overly emotional, amygdala tends to do a little bit of trolling. You see, when we play League, by far the most active area in our brain would be prefrontal cortex. Not only it plays major role in our voluntary movement, but it is also part of the brain that is tasked with making literally every single decision in game. Decision to arrive at lane early or not, prefrontal cortex. Get lane control or get pushed in, prefrontal cortex. Last hit this minion or hit enemy champion, prefrontal cortex. Try to reach diamond or fail miserably and make videos about it for the entire internet to see how shit you are at the game, prefrontal cortex. Amygdala and prefrontal cortex do not operate separately. Both of them can suppress each other and take control in certain situations. For example, if you are walking down the street and all of a sudden you look down at your feet and see a snake, you would naturally freak the fuck out. That is amygdala doing its job. It saw a danger and triggered fight or flight response. In the exact moment of freaking out, your prefrontal cortex has no control over amygdala whatsoever. You don't go like, oh, look at that snake, let me get scared of it. No, you see a snake and instantly lose your shit. But if it turned out that the snake was just a random stick, your prefrontal cortex would kick in and tell your amygdala that there is no reason to freak out, so activation of amygdala would be suppressed. There is interesting part though. Since playing League of Legends is so cognitively demanding, any strong emotion like anger or frustration can significantly suppress your prefrontal cortex and thus hinder your ability to make good decisions. I cannot stress enough how important your emotional control is for your success in League of Legends, and the coolest thing is that we have anatomy and neuroscience to back it all up. Okay, few more honorable mentions before I wrap it up. Wernicke's and Broca's area. These parts of the brain allow us to understand and speak language. If you are fully locked in when you play League, these areas won't matter that much, but if you are like Kesha and yell on top of your lungs when you play, these two areas of the brain are pretty much active. Another honorable brain structure is thalamus. It is like a relay station of the brain. Almost every signal that goes in or out of the brain has to pass through here, and it also helps different parts of the brain talk to each other. And with that, gentlemen, we have finally mapped out every major brain structure that is involved in our ability to play League of Legends. All that is left for me to do is to say astronomical thank you for watching this video. I am really passionate about human anatomy as well as League of Legends, and I wanted to somehow mix those two together in an entertaining way. I hope you liked it. Human brain is insanely complex on so many different levels. I definitely didn't do it justice in this video, so if you are actual anatomy professor or neuroscientist, please take it easy on me. Okay, that's enough of me for today. See you next time.